Hey, it's Rick. I'm back for Pajama Crafter Stamps today for another video. And we are going to do a little bit more watercoloring using our ink markers or dye-based markers. So I've stamped out, I'm using the Well Wishes stamp set, and I've stamped that out onto some watercolor paper. I've got my embossed panels up there on the side. I'm going to start off with my lightest marker, and I'm using just the Twi markers. Any water-based markers would work. You could totally color this any way you wanted to. If you wanted to do coat coloring, you could do that. If you want to do watercolor pencils, you did that. Just make sure you use the correct paper and ink for those medias. I like to watercolor, as you know, so I'm going to do watercoloring. So I've used a darker brown and a lighter brown, and I've put those together, and I'm blending those out with a thirsty brush. Y'all have heard me talk about that before. So we're going to go ahead and just blend those out. Blend out his little tail. And I did stamp this, if I didn't mention it, in a Archival Ink. This is just Archival Gray, Shadow Gray ink. I'm going to add some blue to his belly, a darker and a medium or a lighter color, and I blend those out with our little brush. I always like to start in my darkest areas and blend it out to my lighter areas where I want it to be the lightest. So I use the same technique for watercolors as well. All right, for my little baby whale, I'm going to go ahead and switch the colors up and do the two blue colors for his skin, because he's going to be a blue whale. Pun intended. And we're going to go ahead and blend those colors out, just nice and easily. And then we're going to switch to and go for the darker shade of gray on the belly of this whale. And I'll just blend that up. And then we will set that aside to dry. And I've got my embossed panel here. I'm going to come in with a foam blending tool and the Salty Ocean Distress ink, and I'm just going to glaze over the embossed area. That's why I'm using a flat blending brush instead of one of the cottontail blenders, because it would get into every little piece, and the foam will only glaze across the top of the embossed area if you don't press so very hard. So we're just going to add our little panel here to our card front. I'm going to cut this down a little bit. I'm going to cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4. And that way I'm going to pop that back into my Misty. And I'm going to pick out my sentiment for my card. And I'm just going to pop it right into the place right there in that little opening. And I will stamp that down with some VersaFine Onyx ink. Use my pressure tool to make sure I get a nice pressure. And I'm going to fussy cut my little wells out. There are no coordinating dies for this at this time. So I'm just going to fussy cut, and I don't mind fussy cutting if I'm doing it in batches, or if I'm doing it, if I have no other choice. So we're just going to go ahead and my fussy cutting, I just go right up to the edge, and I don't worry about cutting off any skin or any little pieces. If I'm cutting off something with fur, I don't worry about cutting off fur. It's all okay. I just get as close up I can. Once I get it all cut out, I come in with a foam blending tool and some Toffee Crunch ink and go around the edges of my fussy cut images that hides any imperfection in my cutting, and it makes it super easy. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my card front to my card base. I'm going to just attach that to the card with the liquid glue, and then I'm going to add foam tape behind our little whales. I forgot what they were. I was going to say dolphins. I was like, I know that's not right. All right, for the end of the whale, I did have to cut little small pieces for his little tail, because the way it sticks up. So I did cut very small pieces and stuff behind there. And I'm going to go ahead and peel all those backings off. All right, I've got all my backings off of my little foam tape, so I'm just going to add liquid glue behind there and pop my little well on. I will add foam tape to the back of my little baby whale, and I've peeled those backings off camera, and I'm going to add liquid glue behind that, and I'm going to go ahead and put that on my card. And I will finish this off by adding 3 of the Boyfriend Blue rhinestones from Pajama Crafter Stamp. Right at the bottom left of the card, I spaced those evenly as I could. I did scooch this one over just a little bit, and that finishes my card. Here's a look at the card, and here is a closer look at the card. And if you like this video, you're probably going to like the one coming up next.